Hello. So today is going to be a very fun game. Let's go. So why is this game fun? I get to play Drop Blossom. I love NEEKO. I think NEEKO is so cool. I like her design. Just like, I don't play League, but I just like she's like a lizard chameleon. And I like that she just does, I like that in all the sets that she's been in so far, she kind of does like AoE more or less. Because I like frontline units that do AoE because I feel like you can put really good items on them. Like what I mean by that is like a Spark or Morello, even if you're in a pickle. I just like that because it's just cool. It's like, oh, they spread the damage really well, and I can put the frontline item on them, so I can focus on like just raw damage on backline carries, right? I can put utility on this frontline unit. Generally like those units. Here, I hit a 2-star NEEKO off rip because I got dropped 2 NEEKOs. So I'm crossing my fingers. I'm like, this is the game. I've forced it so many times and I've gone 8th every time. There's actually one time I went 2nd with Drop Blossom, but the VOD got corrupted, so I couldn't upload it. I was really sad because I would have had this video out a week ago. But here I'm like, please have a NEEKO 2 game. Please give me Drop Blossom. I'm like, please God. I even have AP items. Please give me Drop Blossom. I get extended duel. What the fuck? Drop Blossom. Let's go. I was so happy. I was banging my desk. I was like, it's a first. If you don't know, Drop Blossom is very first or 8th. If you have a bunch of NEEKOs, it's a first. If you don't have NEEKO, it's an 8th. I can pull up the stats real fast. I'll do it in the background while the video is running. But I have 3 NEEKOs. Bis on NEEKO. So I get like a completed item. I just take Spark. The best items on NEEKO are BT, Archangels, and Titans. So I will pull up the stats and I will explain it because, you know, it's all good. Also, NEEKO turns into a helicopter. Bet, she's so cool. I think the stats are up now. Drop Blossom. So, if you see here, let me go here, let me pull up stats. So Drop Blossom with a NEEKO 3, it only averages a 3.8. It's not that good, right? But if you tech in 7 Mythic, it averages a 3.2. It's not like the best thing in the world, but the thing is, it's very item dependent, right? Because you get so much potential off of these ones. Oh, the stats have updated actually. Before, Archangels was really good. I think, wow, I guess the stats actually changed a lot. The stats used to be a lot better yesterday when I checked it while I was playing the game. So the Bis, I can see Jewel Gauntlet being really good. It's probably just because it's more consistent. But Archangels is really good. But usually the Bis is always Bloodthirster. Bloodthirster is so good because Bloodthirster, not only does it give heal. I know that NEEKO heals herself anyways. But the Bloodthirster gives like the HP shield when you drop to a certain health threshold, right? If you read Bloodthirster's ability. And that health shield is insane because that basically gives you time to do like 1 or 2 more casts, and that's usually all you need to win the fight. So Bloodthirster is very important. Titans, I don't get why it's important. I think Titans isn't that great. And then Archangels and Jewel Gauntlet just because you want to have like that one-shot potential because their damage does AoE. Maybe if I do this, does it change anything if I reverse it? No, the stats got updated. I guess it is what it is. Maybe it isn't as good as I thought. Be careful when you play it then. I remember it being a lot better, and it's just not. So before Bis, so I did this with the intention of like before it said Archangels were like her second best item by far. So what I do is I make Archangels here. The way Drop Blossom works is it increases her healing and damage. So generally what you want to do is you just want to stall the fight out, and then every time she casts, the radius of her circle gets bigger. So the radius of her AoE gets bigger. So as you can see here, I hit the back line already after 2 casts. So 2 casts, 3 casts, 4 casts. You're basically stalling because as soon as the Archangels hits a really high number, you could also, it says Jewel Gauntlet is better, so it's the same idea. As soon as the circle gets big enough, you can one-shot a lot of the backline units, and you can just do AoE damage, just chunk out huge amounts of health over the whole course of like the fight, right? That's the idea behind Drop Blossom. Now, it's very dependent on hitting NEEKO 3. I think the best version, I'm going to double check the stats now because the stats have changed, which traits are the best. So I'll sort them by delta. So here you go, so we can check the stats. I like to check the stats. Like, it's hard to check stats on like variable comps when there's like a lot of variance, but when it's like a reroll heavy comp, I think it's really important to like look at statistics to see like what works best. So as you can see here, artist is the best, so this means you get to a Hui, but the main thing is 7 mythic, right? If you can hit 7 mythic with a Hui, then you're in like a top 2, right? Because you basically like that's basically what this turns into, right? If you hit the Hui later, so you're trying to get to level 9, which is why you want to really natural a lot of the NEEKOs and or take rolling or duplicator augments to make sure you hit the NEEKOs on time. Arcanus and these, like, there's nothing else that's really here. It says 5 mythic is really bad, right? So you never want to play like some flex 5 mythic, and a lot of times it's probably because you just didn't hit hard enough. But you're basically playing vertical mythic. Heavenly, there was stats on Heavenly yesterday. I think they reset the stats or something, because I can't really tell. Maybe if I put it to Emerald Plus, yeah, Emerald here was 7, Heavenly was up there, I remember. Oh, maybe that's why. Maybe it's because now there's diamond stats. I'm looking at the diamond stats instead of the emerald stats, but that's okay. I'm just looking at the higher elo that I can. Okay, back to the game. Back to the game. So this game's already high rolled because I started the game with a NEEKO 2 and my whole front line is upgraded. He gives us the Azir shows up, so he gives the next augment instantly. It's a silver augment, so silver augments are generally not that strong. So unless you hit something that's like really insane, you don't really have to care too much about your choice with the silver augment. They're generally like all around the same area of fine, except for like 1 or 2 of outliers, like Fine Vintage that's like really broken. I don't know if Fine Vintage is still broken, by the way. I didn't check the stats after nerf. But so I just take duplicator 1. Why? Because I don't want to roll for this NEEKO at all, right? I have 4 NEEKOs. I basically have 6 NEEKOs now, so I only need a natural 3 more NEEKOs, right? And naturaling 3 NEEKOs isn't that bad because I probably can natural them anyways. But if I have to roll deep for it, it's not difficult, right? I just need to find 3. So that's why I take the duplicator, because I already have so much combat and so much power because of how strong I believe Drop Blossom is. So yeah, let's just send it. Watch this. NEEKO goes once up. When NEEKO helicopters in the air, she also takes reduced damage. So having a Bloodthirster and Titans and stuff like that, where she scales really well into late, are really strong because when she flies up, she'll take less damage. If she has the Bloodthirster, she'll heal, and if she has the Bloodthirster damage, she'll heal a bunch as well. And we have an AP Kale player. That's something to note about because he could just switch into Arcanus and then start grabbing a bunch of NEEKOs. I natural another NEEKO. Okay, that's hey, you know what? 2 more. I just need 2 more NEEKOs. 2 more NEEKOs, the game's fucking over. I put in a thing because I'm so scared to miss it. Now, I know the 7 Heavenly version. I played the Heavenly version. I went 5th twice, I think. So I definitely think the Mythic version is so much more reliable than the Heavenly version. It just doesn't work out that much when you play. I think Heavenly is just a hard to play in general, because if you roll really deep on 7 and you don't hit everybody 3-star, you just don't have enough stats and you don't have like a good enough carry. I thought it was good enough to play around Soraka, but a lot of times you don't hit the Soraka, and then you need the Wukong, but like you just get out capped, I feel. Right? I find that it's very difficult, right? Because I've played games where I have Kha'Zix 3, Malphite 3, NEEKO 3, Soraka 3, and I have Wukong 1, and like, you know, the other guys upgraded, but like I just have like a Wukong 1 and I'm level like 8, and I just get railed by like legendary boards. I got railed by like Yone reroll, I got railed by Bard reroll, right? And then you just end up going 5th because like you're spending so much time at a low level that you're not increasing the quality of your units. And then like your Heavenly bonus is going to a bunch of like 1-star trash and 2-star trash that it doesn't really work out. And even when I had Drop Blossom that one of those games like that, and it just didn't work out because even though my NEEKO had like insane stats, my whole board would be dead even with all the Heavenly bonuses of 7 Heavenly, because the other boards were just so outcapped, right? And NEEKO still takes damage, like she's not invincible, right? because she does a lot of damage, but she doesn't have like insane tank stats, if that makes sense. She does have, like, to a certain extent, insane tank stats when she's flying, like helicoptering in the air, but as soon as she comes down from the helicopter, she didn't one-shot everybody, then she's back to being, like, you know, in danger, so to speak. So anyway, in full, you're playing 7 Mythic. That's the point of the argument. You could play 7 Heavenly. It's very difficult. It's very high roll. Be careful. But you're basically just playing 7 Heavenly. I take a component on Carousel here for Titans, and then I find the component anvil, so I take BT. And now I have 3 item Nico 2 Drop Blossom stage 3-3. I did lose a fight, right? Mind you, I did lose a fight, so I'm not full streaking. But I'm fucking giga strong, right? I'm thinking, do I level just to put in Altruist? I'm like, nah, I think I'm just gonna econ up. I'm positioning my Nico in the middle because she takes some aggro, but she doesn't take all the aggro. I want her to take some aggro because you want Nico generally to be frontline because you want her to build mana, right? Because every cast that happens, she increases the radius of her circle. So you want her to cast a lot, but you don't want to give her like, you know, you're not gonna give her like a Shojin, right? She's just like, you know, she needs to have like the tank. She needs to have like the Bloodthirster for the heal. I think Bloodthirster is really essential for the heal and the shield. And then you need some sort of like giga AP item to do massive damage. I don't know why. In my head, I thought Gargoyles would be really strong on her, but even the stats, like the stats have not shown Gargoyle as being good. Right, like if I go down to like Emerald, it says Gargoyles like plus delta, it says D-Claws plus delta, it says Adaptable plus delta, it says Sparks plus delta, it says Crown. Like all the tank items seem bad, right? So you just want to build her like really strong like melee frontline items, like a melee carry, because you just need her to like cast repeatedly and just do damage. Right? It's more important. Like I thought, like in my head I thought like instead of Titans, because Titans doesn't give that many good stats. But I think it's just like Titans is a bow item, and I think it's between Titans being a bow item and a chainmail item, and then Bloodthirster being a sword item and a cloak item. She gains a little bit of defensive stats on both the magic side and the what's it called? The magic and the armor, like the MR and armor, right? Because of the chainmail and the Titan. So I think it just synergizes really well. The same reason it works well for like melee carries, like Titan's BT is always like a thing. Anyways, it says support item. So I think I'm kind of dumb here, but like I don't think I get an option, right? So I was thinking like, oh, maybe I just take like Cleaver, but I don't really need Cleaver. I would like Chalice. Chalice would be great, but I think this guy takes Chalice. So, oh no. Yeah, he takes Chalice. So I'm like, I probably take... Yeah, so I should have just taken the 2-cost Cleaver, the 2-cost ZZ Rot anyways. Now the reason I take ZZ Rod is because in my head I'm like, okay, if I can just have one more frontline unit, that's probably fine, right? I'm down for just having like this Malphite in always, because I'm playing vertical mythic, right? But the Malphite is heavenly, and it gives a little bit of HP to the Nico, as well as it gives HP to my whole board, and it gives armor and MR to my whole board, which is really good. So I'm probably going to try and hit a Malphite 3 if I can, but I'm probably just going to play Malphite for most of the game. Like I said though, I only need 2 more Nikos. I'm not rolling on 6 aggressively at any point in the game because I would rather try and level to play my mythic board. Right now I'm 4 mythic, so I'm a little bit weak. I could swap out a mythic for somebody like a heavenly if I had one, so that's something to look out for. But as you can see, so now, right now my Nico doesn't hit the backline yet, but after this cast she should hit the backline if this guy doesn't die. Anyways, they died anyways. It's fine. So you want to play the mythic works really well, the 7 mythic, because with the Lilia and the Kog'Maw, you get Invoker as well. So having 2 Invoker helps the Nico cast more frequently, right? So here I just put in Invoker over over the Tahm Kench because I want her to cast a little bit more. Invoker just gives an extra 5 mana, right? Every 3 seconds, and who knows, it might matter. It might come down to 1 extra cast in a fight, right? Especially with Nico that scales late, you know, fitting in an extra cast is always really important. So here we're just still positioning in the middle. I think at one point, if Nico is dying too soon, so in this fight, Nico seems to be dying, but look how much health. She heals right back to full as long as she helicopters up, right? But this is, you can already see how it's starting to get a little bit dodgy, right? She is like, you know, look at this fight. She's not 100 HP ending, but yeah, I just fucking one-shot everything, right? So the Nico 2 is already falling off. It's late stage 3, and I'm already starting to taper off in my skill, or in my power relative to the lobby, right? So now I have a difficult decision to make. Do I roll on 6, or do I go 7? And do I just hope that I natural the Nikos? I look around, I see one person holding 2 Nikos. Drop Blossom, you can try and tempo with it, but it's not the greatest tempo tool, if that makes sense. I've tried playing tempo around Drop Blossom before and I was unsuccessful. One game I trolled, one game I didn't. So, you know, my success rate I would say isn't the greatest. But it's just very difficult in general, I would say. I think I end up leveling and then rolling on 7 a little bit. Or do I just not roll at all? I just put D-Lord in because whatever. Here I just say, okay, I can make a Sunfire, I need anti-heal, right? So I just made, basically all my components are on this Malphite, and I'm hoping that I hit Malphite 3. If I don't hit Malphite 3, whatever. I'll sell the Malphite and I'll put them on like a Nautilus or a what's his name? Tahm Kench, right? As you can see, I naturaled all the Nikos at the beginning. I didn't natural them now, so now I do have to roll eventually. I leveled to 7. The odds are, instead of 40% for a 2-star, they're now 30% for a 2-star. But I do have the potential, if I get stuck on 7, that you can natural her away. There's a small percentage chance of getting the 5 cost. I can also hit the Lilia and the Nautilus, which I also need, as well as I can hit the Tahm Kench and the, what's his name? Anyways, I got railed by the faded guy, but you know, it's as expected. I was saying last round I was already falling off and this guy sent it. So, you know, that happened. Because of Azir, he moved the Augment so I don't see them all, right? I decided to roll aggressively here to try and find these 2 Nikos, as well as to stabilize around 5 Mythic and just lose the Invokers. But there is a lot more to hit on 7, right? Rolling on 6, I only hit the Nico. Rolling on 7, I have a lower chance of the Nico, but I have a greater chance of Tahm Kench, Bard, Nautilus, Lilia, and a small percentage chance of just high rolling into a Hawei, right? So that's why I roll on 7. I roll to 30 here because now I'm getting stressed. I could just lose out from this position, right? This is the problem with Drop Blossom, which, you know, I just want to point out, it's very strong. It's very high roll. I think the stats now make it seem like it's a lot weaker. I think the stats were better yesterday. Maybe it just didn't update, or maybe I was using like a cached version of the website, like when it first got buffed, it was really strong. Anyway, you see that? Just fucking one-shot all those dudes. Let's go, Nico. Man, I like Nico. Nico's cool. If I ever play League, I'll play Nico. Nico's so cool. Bat. I found one. I'm one off. Oh no, I have 2 duplicators. Right. That's the last one I needed. Okay. I forgot. In my head, I forgot that I get 2 duplicators with Champ Dupe. I was so stressed for a second. I was like, what did I do? I've done that before, by the way. But I duplicate before the second dupe comes in. But yeah, so I was one off Nico. So it was definitely roll aggressively. That's why I was rolling to 0, because I just wanted to find the 1 Nico. I forgot that I lost track of my numbers. My apologies. VOD review is hard. Anyways, now I have Nico 3. I should be stable again, because watch that. Bang! Do you see everybody just fucking die? Everybody was just dead. She created a hellscape. Anyways, I'm once again strong, but as you can see, I high rolled a lot, right? You have to expect Like, if I didn't have a duplicator augment and I didn't have as many Nikos, I started the game with 4 Nikos, right? You have to understand that. I started the game 2-1 with 4 Nikos. And I'm still not even 100 streaking and not even that strong, right? Like, I am very strong, but I'm not like insanely strong, right? I lost fights along the way. That's why Drop Blossom, you really need to have, not only do you have to have a lot of Nikos, you also have to have the items for it. There is no way around it. If you do not have both the items and like at least, like I would say you, like, you know, 1 Nico is probably good, maybe. But I would say you need at least 2 Nikos and an item for it, right? I had 3 Nikos and an item for it. And I'm still barely clutching out, right? I'm level 7 and I had to roll deep, right? I didn't natural the last couple, and I took a duplicator augment, right? So I'm down a combat augment for the rest of the game. So I'm basically relying on this Drop Blossom being broken enough to get me there. If I didn't have the double duplicator augment, let's say I didn't hit it. Let's say it was a silver augment, I didn't hit champ duplicator. I would still be Nico 2, and I would probably lose most of these fights. Also, I don't know what the fuck this guy is doing. Is this some tech that some other YouTuber showed people? Genuinely? Why did he put his Kale in radius of my Nico? Isn't the Kale the carry? Is it some shit that like all adjacent units that kill gain AP, so you put Kale in the middle? Like, this guy griefed. Like, what? Like, he didn't even wait for my Nico cast to scale. He just said, I'll just put you in range off rip. GG. Goodbye, Kale. I guess he just didn't scout, but it's just so funny. I remember seeing that in the game and I was like, bro, am I really that low in Emerald? I thought I was like Emerald 3, right? Also, I'm Emerald 4 now, by the way. I had a lot of bad losses after these couple games. I keep flickering between Emerald 4 and Emerald 3 and Emerald 2, just in that range. I literally just go up, down. Like, I either win 10 in a row, lose 10 in a row, win 5 in a row, lose 5 in a row. And I think it's a lot of it is just like tilt, right? I think that, and just the general nature of the game. I talked a lot about it in the last video, I believe, but just like in general, it's like, it just feels so bad when you have a bad opener. Like, this game had a really good opener, so this is like, oh yeah, this is an easy game to play. But like, there's other times where it's like you have a bad opener and then it just works out really poorly. What I mean by a bad opener is like, if you don't have an opener where you can streak or save enough HP to go 9, then you're stuck on 8 and the game just feels awful because there's not many forecasts that are like super viable to play around, and you have to have really good spot for them anyways. So sometimes you might hit a forecast, like, you know, and then you can't even play it that well, right? Like, you have AP items and you hit AD and stuff like that, or you have like a setup for like snipers and you hit Kaisa, and then you have to try and pivot your board really fast to like fit this Kaisa that you don't have items, that you don't have like a board for, you know, stuff like that. And then like, but if you have like a spot like mine, my spot was very easy because I got a reroll spot, right? Mine is reroll Nico, which is enabled by Augment. There's other people that have reroll spot enabled by having a lot of units of one particular unit, or reroll spot by Augment, or reroll spot by items. If you don't have a spot like that very early on, it becomes like a disaster, it feels. And I think that you know, this game I high rolled, then I high rolled another game, so it's like I get a lot of firsts, and then I get a lot of 8ths, because it's like, well, what do I do here? It's like, you know, I'm broke and I have no health, and I don't have items for a specific reroll, and I don't have the units of that specific reroll either. So it's like, now what? And I think it might just be identifying spots better. Obviously, I'm down to say that it is my fault and I am bad at the game. I'm never against saying that. I'm saying that what I am saying is that it's very difficult, because I feel like I'm justifying what I'm saying, though. I feel like it's a hard spot and I'm going 8th, but I could scrounge out more elo. Like, maybe I can convert some of my 5ths into 4ths and stuff like that by finding some angle for stabilizing my boards, like finding good stabilization points. But I am saying that it is very difficult, right? And I'm just not motivated to study to find these niche sidelines where you could win out, you know, if that makes sense, right? I think it's a lot of my laziness and lack of motivation. I think I would be more motivated if I saw more forecast lines, because then I would feel more happy being on 8. instead of having to roll aggressively on 7 and try and stabilize around that. But of course, that's why a lot of these videos this week and next week might be VOD reviews. I might just wait till the next patch, see if they change anything, because I feel like nothing really changed in the last patch that they made. Maybe it did and people will figure it out, but I'm just gonna wait for them to figure it out because I just don't care enough to figure it out myself, so to speak. Alright, Nico. See, this is what I was saying, right? Nico, when she becomes like a solo tank and like other people have a lot of damage, she does eventually die, right? She was helicoptering and she was still struggling to live, right? Here Arcanus Crown might be bait. I was considering it, but I really want like a combat and or frontline trait. Like I would love Unified here, but I just don't. Anyway, I take support cash. So I take support cash, but I forgot one of the this is gonna be embarrassing. So Randuin's is probably good here. Aegis is also always good almost, so I'm down for Aegis, right? I take Banshees, right? Because I was debating between Aegis and that, and I was like, Banshees at least make sure my Nico doesn't get stunned. I forgot the guy with the Zephyr, and I forgot that they patched it, because last patch Banshees blocked Zephyr, but it's not supposed to. But like apparently, like I think that's how it was in the past as well. It's just not supposed to. But I forgot that, so I get Zephyr'd anyways. And I feel like such an idiot because I literally took Banshees. Part of the reason I took it was because I knew there was a Zephyr in the lobby, but I didn't. I read the patch notes, but I forgot that, like, you know, in the moment I was like, oh yeah, Banshees will block the Zephyr, and then I forgot, like, oh wait, they patched it. I'm like, god damn it. So I lose this fight. This guy's a really good Kaisa. This is what I was saying, like Kaisa is a playable 4 cost, but you need to have like this really strong bruiser and or like story weaver opener. But the thing is, he's not that, like, I'm kind of weak right now, right? I'm weak because I haven't hit 7 mythic. As soon as I hit 7 mythic, that is my next stabilization point, right? So I stabilized for stage 4 and part of stage 5, but now in stage 5 I have fallen off again. That's why this drop blossom is very high roll, that you need to have a lot of Nikos early, because if you miss any of these stabilization points, you have a high chance of going 5th or even lower, right? I need to hit 7 mythic. Right now I'm saving Econ. I see this guy, he's 1 off of Kaisa, right? And I think that I have potential to win. So what do I do here? I roll aggressively because I think that, or he's not 1 off Kaisa yet. He's holding Kaisas. He's 5 off of Kaisa, right? As soon as he's 1 or 2 off of Kaisa, I'm going to start rolling to hold Kaisas. Why? Because I just hit my stabilization point, right? I'm able to go 9, right? Because I was greeting to go 9. That's why I was losing some of those fights, right? I have a Lysandra in, so I have Arcanist in. I have 7 Mythic in, 2 Heavenly, and I found a Hui, right? This was my plan all along, right? Because Hui will duplicate a unit every turn. If it's a 1 cost unit, it will take 1 turn to duplicate. I will now hit a Malphite 3, which will boost the armor on my entire board. Anyways, watch this. Ready? Bang. See, 7 Mythic, now she has a bunch of HP and a bunch more AP. I have once again stabilized. See, now my Nico is unkillable again, which will last for like a couple rounds, obviously, because then I have to hit way 2 and everything else. But that's really important. With every comp, you have to understand the stabilization points and relative to your lobby, if the lobby is high roll versus if the lobby is low roll. You have to know where you need to roll. And that's like where a lot of the nuance comes from. So with Drop Blossom, I played it enough times and I got 8th enough times that I know if I don't have this particular setup at this particular time in the game, I am fucked. And in this game, I happened to hit all of them at the same time, using health as a resource to make it to 9. I naturaled the way. If I didn't find the way, you play a Lilia instead. Eventually you want to probably drop Bard for Lilia. The reason you drop Bard for Lilia is because Bard's not really doing anything. If you have this setup, you could commit to Bard reroll with this setup with Drop Blossom. I think it is just worse because 7 Mythic is so much more important. And if you're committing to rolling deep on 7, the chances are you will not hit 7 Mythic or have enough gold to hit 7 Mythic. And then it requires you to not only build the Nico items for Nico carry, but also to build the Bard items for Bard carry. And in between that, you need to find alternative tank items as well as other things. It's just way too difficult. But that is a line, and I think that line is very strong. And I'm not saying it's a bad line. It might even be stronger than this line in terms of top placement. Because you just hold Nikos while you roll for the Bards. I genuinely think that it is way too difficult. Because you need to build Shred, you need to build Anti-Heal, you need to build the 3 Nico items, which these are the only ones that are Bis on her. And then you need to also have the Bard items and the Bard thing. At that point, just don't take Drop Blossom. If you have a spot for a Bard reroll and you see Drop Blossom, fuck it. Just forget about Drop Blossom. Just take Bard items. You know what I mean? Anyways, here I'm just going to duplicate. I'm rolling for another Hui because I want to try and hit Hui too. I hit the Lysandra too. I think I forget to duplicate somebody at one point. I just put a Lysandra item. I'm just rolling for another copy of Hui as early as possible. I'm also rolling for this Kaisa, right? So if we didn't see when I scouted, the Kaisa guy is 1 or 2 off. And that is a bad thing because I have the potential to go first in this game, right? If I don't have the potential to go first in a game, you do not have to grief another player, right? Griefing players, all it does is it removes somebody from the lobby, but it doesn't affect if it doesn't affect your placement, right? Like, let's say there was a Bard player, right? Do I care about griefing the Bard player? No, because I'm pretty sure I outcap the Bard player anyways if he's low level, right? It's not a matter of, oh, I'm just gonna grief a guy for griefing's sake. It's like, no, you want to remove. The only reason you grief somebody is if they can directly contest you and directly affect your own placement. Because if the Bard guy hits, like it's like saying, like, if I beat a Ghostly guy, am I gonna grief the Ghostly guy? No, because the Ghostly guy might beat the Bard guy, right? It's a very situational thing, right? In this case, I was rolling for these Kaisas because if this guy hits Kaisa 3, which he's 1 off of Kaisa 3, right? I'm not gonna go 10 this game, right? So it doesn't even affect my gameplay, right? I don't have any position to hit a 3-star of one of my units. That is the only way I lose this game. I'm pretty sure this is a guaranteed first now that I have the Hui and I'm level 9 and I have a list 2. The only way I lose is if that Kaisa guy hits Kaisa 3. That is why I roll and I try and hit the Kaisas. If you saw me rolling aggressively in the last couple turns, it was specifically to hit that. I see this guy who looks like he's holding orange. Fuck it, I'm holding orange too. Because that is the only way I lose the game. It directly affects my game. So it is the correct decision to grief the player, right? It's like in this. If I'm in a 1v1 and this guy is trying to cap out his board and he needs like an Irelia, I'm going to hold Irelias, right? The Kaisa guy died now, so we can get rid of the Kaisas. I hit the Hui. That's great because now I can guarantee in 2 turns to have Hui 2. This guy is very strong, by the way, because he's playing like full cap level 10 Dragon Lords and everything. He has Kale 3, 7 Story Weaver, Hui on the way to Hui 2, right? I think he's like 1 or 2 turns off of Hui 2. So I frontline my Nico here and I put my Lysandra to try and get this Galio in the pot, which I get. My back line is kind of like trolling, like my front line's kind of like all over the place, but this fight doesn't look close, right? If you watch it. Yeah. And I get a component, which is nice. It ends up being kind of close. As you can see, it ends up just being my Nico left alive and the Irelia, but he's Irelia 1 and he's Hui 1, right? But he's gonna get his Hui 2 very soon. There's no Irelia on the board. He gets a Heavenly Emblem, which is kind of bad. I would have loved a Heavenly Emblem. It would definitely help out my board because I'm already playing 2 Heavenly. Just get extra HP stats on everybody. I just take the Hui because that fight looked close and I don't want to know of a world where I lose this game because I would be very sad. He hits the Hui 2. He has Irelia 2 now. Maybe he had Irelia 2 last turn, but I don't know for sure. But he spiked, so I said, like, you know, in my head, I'm like, he's probably going to hit this way. I definitely need to hit something to keep up with him, or else I will lose. So I hit Hui 2. 7 Mythic Hui 2 is nothing to sneer at, even after the nerfs. And let's see how this fight goes. These last couple fights are very informative, because you can see a lot in terms of positioning and stuff. So I'm doing the same position I've been doing all game, Nico in the middle. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, what do I do here? My Nico is getting cast, but as you can see, it's a lot closer this fight. My Nico is still alive, but I haven't killed this Galio because of the extra stats and just the way my board goes. And now it's just too much for my dude to handle, right? I lose the fight. Okay, now what? Right? So what went wrong that match? In my head, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I think that Nico needs to be on either the far left or the far right. Why? The Nico in the center, she gets stuck on the Galio. Her radius is a circle. It doesn't increase large enough to kill any of the major damage dealers. So I check, right? I check the stats, right? Let's go back. Check this. Ready? I'll pause it. I rewind. Did I not check? Yeah, I checked the combat report. Who does the most damage? Kale and Irelia, right? And Hui. So I want to position either to kill the Irelia or to kill the Hui and the Kale. So it's probably better to position on... The thing is, Hui and Kale do a lot of damage, right? If you look at the thing, so the number 1 damage is the Kale, number 2 damage is Irelia, number 3 damage is Hui, right? I lost that fight. All 3 were alive at the end. They just destroyed my Nico, right? So what I want to do is I want to kill off these units first with the Nico AoE. So how do I kill off these units? Well, I'm scared if I target the Kale and the Hui, they're on the same side. Now, it would be really cool if I could put my Nico on that side and kill both of them. I don't think that's a good idea. I think they do too much damage and they will kill my Nico if I position on the right side. So why am I going to go here, right? Like what I'm saying is I could put Nico here and then she does like, I don't know, let me draw like a Nico. Right, this is her helicoptering, right? She's kind of like a bug, chameleon tail, right? When she goes slam, right, there will be an AoE. Oh, that's not very, right? There'll be an AoE here which will kill this and kill this, right? The other alternative is I can have my Nico here and do an AoE and kill this, right? Now, what I'm saying is, if I position my Nico here, if I position my Nico here, I think that she'll die before she scales to do the cast. But if I position it here, there's nobody attacking her. So I kill 1 damage dealer, I kill you, I wrap, I kill you, I wrap, I kill you. So what is my play? My play... just trash everything. My play is to go right here and then try and kill this area, right? And just avoid the Galio, because before what was happening was I would try and kill the Galio here and I wasn't killing enough because this lived and this lived, right? And the Galio lived so that I just didn't kill anything. Anyways, let's go back to the video and see what I do. So my idea is I want to put her on the left side. I'm just too scared based on the damage that is dealt that putting her on the right side, she will die too soon. So what do? I put ZZ Rot here so that she's not targeted first. And I put Nico here. Nico kills this Riven. This Riven ain't living for shit. Nico kills this. None of these units matter, but check this out, right? Now I wrap all the way here. This is perfect, right? I'm going to kill everything. Ready? Want to see something? Want to see a magic trick? Bang. Look how much... Anyways, the wrap was kind of big, right? Even if I don't wrap, I think I still win. This guy's 2 lives, though. This guy's 2 lives, so mind you, he can still adapt, right? So what did I do that round? I wrapped. That's fine. But even if I got stuck, right? I'm imagining the worst case. Wrapping is always the best, but if I get stuck, I'm trying to kill this Irelia and then wrap and kill this, right? Now, this guy's level 10, but he doesn't have enough gold to outcap me, I don't think, right? My front line also managed to make it around the Galio, which was pretty cool. I don't know how. I think my Nautilus stunned the Galio, and the Galio like got hit into the backline, and it worked out really well, because once he got hit into the backline, my Way was targeting the backline as the major clump. Here, I'm just looking for an item. I'm thinking either Adaptive Helm for this dude, or yeah, just Hodge, whatever. More damage on that one. Anyway, so I'm positioning. I'm positioning. Am I going on the kale side? Am I going on the other side? Right? I put it on this side because I'm like, ooh, am I going to switch? I'm just trying to bait him out. He's too focused on like fixing his board. I reposition to put this back. And I put the Z0 on the far end. The reason you put something on the far end, because if the Nico is the last on the end, then multiple units could target it. He adapts, and he tries putting this Rakan to stall me. Now, do I care about this Rakan at all? No, because I don't care if I'm not here to try and wrap, right? Watch this. Ready? Bang. Everybody takes damage. Anyways, I wrapped anyways. But even if I got stuck, the idea is if I got stuck, I would still kill the what's its name? The Irelia. But that was the idea. We position on that side. We get into a position where we are now doing AoE instead of being stuck on the Galio. It might have worked on the right side as well, but on the right side I was just scared the Kale and the Hui would burst me down too soon. Right? Like if my Nico took aggro on the Kale early, I would lose. And yeah, so that's how I converted that into a first. It's very easy to get caught up in putting in the middle. But mind you, this game was very high roll because I hit all the stabilization points. It was also a very good spot for Drop Blossom. I think Drop Blossom is almost unclickable. Almost unclickable if you do not have a spot like this. You are very highly likely to go 4th or 5th at best if you do not start the game with a bunch of Nikos. Because if you do not start the game with a bunch of Nikos, like yes, I high rolled some of my last ones, but I did have to roll deep on 7 and I had 2 duplicators, right? If I did not have 2 duplicators, that was the more high roll thing, that it was a silver augment that allowed me to take 2 duplicators without being too sacrificial to a combat augment. That is why it worked out. So Godspeed, good luck. Hopefully you do well with your Drop Blossom. Nico is cool as hell. And hopefully that was very fun. I love watching her fly in the air, drop down, and just AoE kill everybody. Alright. Bye-bye.